We have a brand new show.
Living within your means. What does that mean in a sense? And how can you ensure that you are living within your means?
What you need, what you make.
Is it a need? Is it a want?
We have a brand new show, People and Money, where we are going to be engaging on all things money, be it buying property, credit, budgeting, different areas to do with money. Ncumisa, welcome to Baobab Chats.
Hi, Stan. Thank you for having me.
And if you want to know Ncumisa more, go onto our YouTube channel. You'll find a video where we profile Ncumisa and what the amazing work that she's doing. But Ncumisa, maybe just a short introduction of yourself.
My name is Ncumisa Nodaka. I run a business in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. I've been running Ncumisa Chartered Accountants and Auditors now for 6 years. I am a qualified accountant and tax practitioner. And what our viewers can look forward to is more discussions, like you've indicated, Stan, about money, about investing, about saving, and also looking more as to how we can actually ensure that we are living within our means as human beings.
This is the first episode. We are talking about money. Where do we start from? Usually we start about budgeting, in the household. And this episode is mainly on to start on budgeting. Can you just give us a highlight on exactly what it is?
Budgeting in itself has a number of components that one needs to keep in mind. So essentially what a budget is an estimate of your income, which is money coming in, and your expenses, which is money going out, and everything that you need to pay as an individual. And now we will then also delve deeper into income and also what are expenses that one needs to take into account when you are compiling your own budget. And I think that will lead then, our first session will lead into living within your means. What does that mean in a sense? And how can you ensure that you are living within your means?
Yeah, and another point there on budgeting, Ncumisa, which is a question that a lot of people will speak about, is we know that majority of our people are self-employed and work on, jobs in which they have to finance their own life, not going to a specific business or company where they work. And the question always arises, how can I do a budget when I don't even know how much I'm going to get?
Whether you are self-employed, whether you are employed full-time, whether you've got a side hustle, everyone needs to do a budget, because how else are you going to know how much money you're going to need at the end of the day to ensure that you are complying with meeting whatever obligations you have for the month? Because like it or not, we all have bills to pay, and we all have certain, children, they have to go to school. You have to ensure that they've got lunch, that they have clothing, that they have a means of getting to the school, transport. So yeah, like it or not, money always needs to go out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what I can also add is at least project or think about how much do I think I'm going to make, and at least against the expenses, so that then, it contributes to how hard you can work to be able to meet those obligations that you have. You said we're going to focus on living within your means. Take us through what exactly does that entail? Because this is a term that people like using. But what does it mean?
The basic form, living within your means that you are living. So if you were to take your own income, all your income, whether you yourself get or as a household with married people, that gross income, and you look at the amount of expenses or amount of bills that you have to pay for the month, if you can live within that, taking the income minus all the expenses, and you still have some left over, that is living within your means. So basically, when you are able to pay all your bills and also still have a bit left over, or pay all your bills and have nothing over, that means you are living within your means.
Do you start on what you need, or do you start on what you make?
The great starting point is looking at what you need. Now, when we look at what is a need, some of us may vary between what is a need and what is a want. However, I do need to emphasize that one needs to be very realistic, and you need to be very true to yourself in the sense of defining the two and also listing your needs into your wants so that you can actually prioritize what are the things that you needs every month.
Yeah, and can we, because we as we now go to Islung, we are came from elsewhere. Can we break these terms down? This need and want.
A need, if I can differentiate between the two, let's look at food, right?
Yeah.
So as human beings, we need food in order to sustain our bodies, right? So food is a need. But the fact that I now want to eat sushi or caviar or dine at a fine dining restaurant, now that is a want.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Unless if you need also to post the pictures on social media,
no, that is not a need. We need to look at the word. A need is a necessity. Necessity. Yeah.
Part of the challenge starts coming with things like, say, for example, a lot of us, we want to send our children to better schools. And, distinguishing between what kind of education my children need and what kind of education my children want. I think those are kind of the gray areas that a lot of us start struggling with in terms of, you need something, but how good should it be against how much I can afford? And I think those are some of the gray areas, maybe as we go through this series, that we're going to touch on to say, how do we decipher between these, and how are other people doing it? With your experience, Ncumisa, of dealing with, finances of a lot of people and in different places, at least you will help us to understand how we can break this down.
Most definitely. And I love the idea that you, the example that you used earlier about the schools, where we have really good government schools that also offer quality education versus private schooling. And one often forgets that maybe private schooling will come with a range of additional costs that people don't normally factor in. They almost get surprised by these costs that come with such an enrollment. And that's where you need to then decipher between, is it a need, is it a want?
Yeah, definitely. I think living within your means, it's such a critical topic. Of course, we can never dissect it enough and, go very deep. And we don't want to go too deep on the first episode. But I think at least you've given us, that initial idea of, your needs and your wants, and kind of trying to distinguish between the two, and how you live on. One thing I would love to maybe talk about there as well, within living within your means, is what is the impact of family in your ability to live within your means? Be it, usually, we come from African families, and we all know from time to time, you're not going to leave the neighbor sleeping on an empty stomach whilst you can help. Or at times it's an issue of, can I help? At times you're obligated to help. How do we factor that into living within your means?
Very, very important. And I think very much applicable to our daily lives. Now, that is something that we will speak about in our episode where we are speaking about your monthly expenses, those unforeseen expenses. One should include a line item in their budget for that, whether it be a family emergency or money that you didn't think you were going to spend, but is now needed to be spent.
See you in the next episode.
Thank you so much, Stan. See you.
All right. Cheers. Bye.